Have you ever held a piece of history in your hand? Not something tucked away in a museum or behind a glass panel, but something real, tangible. Something like a coin that once jingled in the pocket of someone living decades ago? Well, let me introduce you to a small but mighty artifact, the British 2 shilling coin from 1958, also known as a florin. It's not just metal. It's a story, a connection, a symbol of post-war Britain, Queen Elizabeth II early reign, and a bridge between the old currency system and the new decimal era. Now, picture this. It's 1958. The UK is in a time of change. World War II has been over for more than a decade, but the effects still linger. The country is rebuilding. There's a new monarch on the throne, Queen Elizabeth II, young and poised, and this little coin, this humble florin, is part of that world. The 1958 florin is simple, yet elegant. It's got that unmistakable British flair, clean lines, regal symbolism, and a strong historical vibe. On one side, you got the Queen herself. Not just any queen. This is Elizabeth II in her youthful glory. She's facing to the right, as per tradition, and the portrait is surrounded by the inscription, Elizabeth II Dei Gratia Regina F. Laughing Face, which is short for Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith. That phrase alone is steeped in centuries of royal tradition. Flip it over, and you're met with a bold, proud Tudor rose in full bloom. It's the kind of design that just screams heritage. Around the edges, the words 2 shillings 1958 and FID Def. Again, Fidei Defensor. Every single part of this coin is soaked in legacy. But why does this coin matter? Why should anyone care about a 2 shilling piece from the 50s? Well, here's the thing. It's not just about the coin. It's about what it represents. First, let's talk about the florin's place in British history. The idea of the florin actually dates back to 1849. It was an attempt, way ahead of its time, to decimalize the currency. Think about it. They were already thinking of a simpler system more than 120 years before it actually happened. The florin was worth 1/10 of a pound, or 24 old pence. And while the UK didn't go fully decimal until 1971, this little coin paved the way. By 1958, the florin had become a regular fixture in the average Brit's wallet. It was used for all sorts of everyday transactions. Buy a meal, a train ticket, a newspaper, or a couple of pints down at the pub. It was part of life. And while it wasn't silver anymore, they had stopped using silver in coins in 1947, it still carried that old world charm. Let's talk materials for a second. The 1958 florin was made of cupronickel, which is 75% copper and 25% nickel. So no, it's not a silver coin in terms of content, but it still shines with that silvery hue. It's durable, solid, and has this nice weight to it, about 11.3 grams. You can really feel the history when you hold one. And let's not forget its size, a respectable 28.5 millimeters in diameter. It's slightly larger than today's 10p coin and much more detailed. That makes it great for collectors, but also just for anyone who loves vintage British aesthetics. Now, if you were a kid in 1958, you might have earned your pocket money in shillings, and getting 2 shillings was a pretty decent haul. That coin might have burned a hole in your pocket until you ran down to the sweet shop. Think about that next time you see one. Some kid might have traded it for chocolate bars, comics, or even a ride on a bus. Coins like the 1958 florin are also interesting because they mark a unique phase in currency. See, in 1968, the UK began introducing new decimal coins in preparation for the full switch in 1971. The florin, being already equivalent to 10 new pence, was actually carried over into the decimal system. That means this 1958 coin continued to be used even after the big currency shift. It had longevity. And get this, it remained legal tender until 1993, when the smaller 10p coins finally replaced it. That means the 1958 florin was in circulation for a whopping 35 years. How many coins today can you say that about? Collectors adore this coin for several reasons. One, it's from the early years of Queen Elizabeth II's reign, which is a significant historical period. 2, the design is clean, classic, and unmistakably British. And 3, It's still relatively affordable and available, so it's a great entry point for new collectors. But just because it's affordable doesn't mean it's not valuable. In top condition, say, uncirculated or proof quality, a 1958 Florin can fetch a decent price, especially if it's in mint condition with no wear or scratches. Of course, value depends on condition, rarity, and demand, but even circulated coins are loved by collectors just for the nostalgia and historical value. Let's go a bit deeper into the symbolism, shall we? That Tudor rose isn't just a pretty flower. It represents the unity between the House of Lancaster and the House of York, a powerful emblem of unity and peace after the Wars of the Roses in the 15th century. Having that on the coin ties modern Britain to its deep medieval roots. It's not just design, it's storytelling. And the Queen's portrait? That's the first coin portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Mary Gillick. This image shows her without a crown, a youthful, hopeful monarch, still early in her reign. It's one of the most admired royal coin portraits ever made. Even the lettering has its charm. That Latin inscription, abbreviated as it is, speaks to Britain's centuries-long relationship with classical learning, the church, and monarchy. Every word carries weight. But you know what might be the coolest thing about this coin? It connects generations. A grandparent might remember using it every day. A parent might remember seeing it in their family's change jar. A young collector today might pick it up from a coin shop or online marketplace and immediately be drawn into its world. And that's the magic of coins. They're time machines, little metal storytellers. The 1958 Florin is more than a currency. It's a conversation piece, a teaching tool, a collector's gem, and most of all, it's a reminder of Britain that was finding its feet again after a world war, embracing a young queen and slowly moving toward modernity. So next time you see one, whether it's in your own collection or in a dealer's showcase, take a moment to appreciate it, because in that small, round piece of cupronickel lies a universe of history, culture, and quiet resilience. And that's just the beginning. As we continue exploring the story of the 1958 British 2 shilling coin, it's time to shift our focus toward the wider historical, cultural, and economic backdrop that surrounded its circulation. Post-war Britain in the late 1950s was in the midst of a transitional phase, rebuilding its economy, reshaping its identity, and adjusting to dynamics of a new global order. This coin was a witness to all that, not a silent one, either. It was right there in shops, pockets, banks, and cash registers, playing a vital role in the daily exchange of goods and services. Let's start by placing the florin into the broader coinage system of the time. Before decimalisation, the British monetary system was famously intricate. There were 12 pence to a shilling, 20 shillings to a pound, and various coins like the penny, halfpenny, threepence, sixpence, florin, and crown. The florin, being worth 2 shillings, was 1/10 of a pound, making it unique. It subtly hinted at decimal logic in a very non-decimal world. It was as if the florin had its eye on the future before anyone else did. Now, looking beyond its use as currency, this coin also provides insight into British craftsmanship. The 1958 florin was struck by the Royal Mint, one of the world's oldest and most respected mints, with a legacy dating back over 1,000 years. By the late 1950s, coin production had become a refined blend of artistry and technology. The quality control, the precision, the aesthetic design, it was all finely tuned. Each florin released was a miniature piece of artwork and engineering. Collectors often ask, how many 1958 florins were minted? While exact mintages for each year can be tricky to confirm without deep archival access, the 1950s were a relatively stable period in terms of coin production. Millions of florins were struck in the 1950s to meet public demand. The 1958 issue isn't considered particularly rare, which is good news for enthusiasts trying to get their hands on one. Still, finding a high-grade example with sharp details, full luster, and no circulation where it can be more of a challenge, and that's where the real collector value starts to rise. Let's not forget those who turn old coins into art. The 1958 florin is sometimes used in jewelry, pendants, cufflinks, and bracelets. Its classic design, historical value, and attractive silver-like color make a perfect choice for wearable vintage pieces. It's history you can carry. In conclusion, the The 1958 British 2 shilling coin, or florin, is a rich chapter in the story of UK coinage. It represents far more than its face value. It's a bridge from the Victorian roots of the florin all the way through to the modern age of decimalisation. It carries symbols of monarchy, national unity, and practical design. It's both commonplace and special, a coin that once sat in millions of hands and now resides in collections and memories of many. Whether you're a serious numismatist, a casual history buff, or someone who just appreciates the finer details of the past, the 1958 florin offers something worthwhile. And maybe, just maybe, the next time you see one, you'll feel a spark, a small connection to a big story.